50 years ago today, the Beatles played on the roof of their Apple office, and Beatles Backbeat played Creme Tangerine's Fab Five favorites from the Fab Four's White Album.
My favorite song on the White Album, Gary, is While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
What do you like about that? Let me ask you up
Oh my
front
goodness.
before we get to it.
I just love the whole feel. Paul's my favorite Beatle. George is my next favorite Beatle, but I think that's the best song on that album. And I love George Harrison's early work. I think it's the first song of what would come from George in the 70s. Love the fact that Eric Clapton's on that. And I just thought it was the Beatles doing stuff that it was a very, very timeless song, a foreshadow of the 70s and stuff like that. And I just love the whole feel of the song and what George was doing with that.
There's a lot of fun guitar parts to play in that. Sexy Sadie might be one that's less guitar, but it's still a lot of fun to play just from the voicings of the chords.
But then they went to Rishikesh, India, they were with the Maharishi and finding himself and all that.
Spiritual journey.
Right. And they just in that process wanted to do something totally different and came back with a bunch of demos, which is on the new White Album edition, the 50th anniversary, the Esher demos that were recorded at George's house. And those evolved into what became the White Album. It was a real conscious effort to be more stripped down, more folk approached, and more organic and not so polished and slick, and not being so studio produced, but be more band centric and more spontaneous in the moment.
Where does the band name Creme Tangerine come from? Right? Comes from a little song on the White Album called Savoy Truffle, which actually the protagonist of that is reportedly Eric Clapton.
So Eric Clapton has something to do with that song as well. He doesn't play on it.
No.
So what's the background of that? Creme
Well,
Tangerine
the lyrics talk about somebody who's going to basically, if they eat too many sweets, they're going to rot their teeth out.
You'll have to have them all pulled out after the Savoy Truffle.
And that was a reference to George's buddy, Eric.
More Beatles Backbeat with Creme Tangerine and the White Album. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Beatles Backbeat on AM 880 KIXI.
My favorite song to sing is Dear Prudence.
Oh, yeah.
Love that song. Love singing it. Love kind of doing my take on it. And just love singing it with Tim playing, and then their band comes in. It's just such a really, really fun song to do. And it's a beautiful song.
And I remember the last time I was here, I said my favorite song was Everybody's Got Something to Hide Except for Me and My Monkey. Favorite Beatles song of all time. But after diving into this, I've changed my mind.
Uh-oh.
I have. My favorite song is Long, Long, Long. And the reason I say that is because it captures a vibe like the White Album captures a vibe. You can't count that song. You have to just play it. You can't sit there and go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. It's about capturing the vibe. You can't just play the song, and the whole album kind of reflects that song, kind of metaphorically, because you can't play the White Album and just play it mechanically. You have to actually vibe it, because that's the only way it comes across. That's my opinion.
Rick, what? It's in 3?
Yeah, it's in 3.
Oh.
Well, for those of us who can't count to 4,
That's my problem.
Yeah, right.